All right, what's up, y'all? I'm Bella D. Welcome back to Books for Crooks. I'm gonna be reading to y'all a short little part of a really dope-ass story. You may know her from the covers of some iconic hip-hop albums. You may know her as Ice-T's very first love of 17 years. Or you may know her from around the way, from my hood, from Corona. She is the original queen of Crown Town. What's up? Let's show some love to Miss Darlene Ortiz, and I'm going to be reading to y'all the definition of down. My life with Ice-T and the birth of hip-hop. All right, chapter 9, power. It's been a quarter century since the Dope Jam tour, and it's been a turning point for rap. When we started the tour, people were still mumbling about rap being a fad and that it wouldn't last. When we finished the tour, it was clear that there was money to be made in this game. In some ways, it was the beginning of the end. Those days were the best because it was all so fresh, and I had a real innocence to it. But truly, it was business, and Tracy got down to business. By traveling the country and hearing the response from fans, he realized he was getting through to people. Even more importantly, he realized he had power. After we got back from tour, Rhyme Pays was at the top of the charts, and we were flush with enough cash to pay off our apartment a year in advance. Having money in the bank for the first time felt really good, but we also had to change a few things. People were starting to recognize us wherever we'd go, and we got tons of love from people. But Tracy was mindful to the fact that you also became a mark to haters, people who want what you have. He always told me, I don't want you to have to change, but just beware of your surroundings. He knew I preferred swap meets to high-end retail any day, but we were now having to be smart. Tracy understood and tolerated the haters. He had a way of either ignoring them or confronting them in a style where he would just shut it down. Mostly, it was simply because he was smarter than everyone else and knew how to outwit them. One night in Westwood, we were leaving a movie premiere, and a Latino guy in the crowd started heckling us. He kept referring to me as being Latina. Even though this was in the late 80s, it was still a hot issue that we were an interracial couple. This dude kept on after Tracy saying, "You have to get a sister, you have to come for our own women." Tracy kept smiling, waving to the crowd of fans. Meanwhile, I was freaking out, nudging him. "Do you hear what he's saying?" Tracy, without even changing the grin on his face, says through his teeth, "Yeah, I hear him. So what? He wants attention, and ignoring him is the best way to shut it down. Let's roll, babe." He never let it faze him. It totally turned me on that he handled it in the way he did. He was teaching me so much, and one thing was to never let busters wow you up. His friend, however, wasn't taking it so well and went and chased the guy to give him a beatdown. He chased him all throughout the streets of UCLA with the guy yelling, "Help me, help me." Even the guy's friend stepped inside and let Tracy's pal have at him. Tracy just laughed at the whole thing and how this dude was a tough guy one minute and a total sucker the next, running like a coward. I was not only in love with him because he was loving and caring, but he was such a badass. I'd listened to his interviews, and he was not only schooling the listeners, but he was schooling me. He was so articulate and so approachable for his fans, and there was nobody like him. You could never predict what he was going to say about anything. Just when you thought you'd have his rap down, he'd flip the script and say something totally unpredictable. He was a street intellectual, and some of the things he'd say just blew my mind. At this point, people were starting to see what a rare person he truly was and how deep he was. Even the way he treated me publicly was unique. He put me in front and center of everything he did. He talked about me in interviews, called me his queen in liner notes, and he started including me in his work more and more. I was not only being recognized as the cover girl for Rhyme Pays, but all the music magazines and urban magazines wanted to include photos of us every month. I started getting requests to model and to host talk shows. I was starring in Tracy's music videos, and day by day, it became clear we were rap's first power couple. Most of the rappers even today keep their women behind scenes, way behind the scenes. Tracy was proud of me and of us, and he wanted the world to know about it. While we were in the Dope Jam tour, he had been writing lyrics on the bus, in hotels, on planes, whenever he could get a break, getting ready for his next album. His interviews were being noticed by people in Hollywood. He was tapped in to write the theme song to a movie that would become a major game changer, Colors, a film that exposed LA's gang wars. Not only did Hollywood execs tap him to create the song, but they turned to him for advice on just how real this war was in LA. He'd been rapping about it for years by then, and it took the shooting death of an Asian woman in Westwood for people to start to wake up. The Colors theme song really defined that era, and here we are. It took us to a whole nother level. He wasn't someone just known in the rap game, but he'd made the transition to writing the theme song for a blockbuster movie. The fact that his music helped fuel the success showed just how mainstream rap was becoming. The video for Color still holds up a quarter century later. As much as he respected the bangers out there doing what they gotta do to survive, he continued to caution kids to avoid that lifestyle. The success of Colors helped prime the pump for Power. People were excited to hear what he had to say next, and he didn't disappoint his fans. He was laid back about pretty much everything, but I remember when he told me about the photo shoot for Power, he said, "Get ready. You're gonna have to do this photo shoot. Do what you gotta do to get yourself where you wanna be because this is gonna be a big deal." So I went and tightened up my perm, got a little sun. I didn't know what I was gonna wear. I'd worn a mismatched bikini on the first album, and I thought this time I'd bring a few risque options. I went to Hollywood Boulevard. I bought 5 bathing suits, one in each color. The day came when it was time to do the shoot, and our friend Glenn E. Friedman told us to meet him at a photo studio. Tracy told me to pack whatever I wanted, and I loaded up on all the options I had, along with all the bathing suits. I brought some slinky little dresses. I didn't even know what he had planned until I saw the guns. He said, "We're all gonna hold guns. The only one you'll see from the front will be D's." I'm thinking, cool. I got my first gun at 11 years old, and I thought it'd be a pretty powerful statement to see a woman holding a gun. He handed me a sawed-off shotgun, also known as a riot pump. I started unpacking the clothes I'd brought, and he grabbed the white one-piece bathing suit right out the suitcase. I remember walking out of the dressing room, and he said, "Yup, that's the one." He also chose my red high-heel pumps and matching earrings. He handpicked everything. It was Antoine in full effect. Not only did he have the interior decorator streak, but he was also into fashion, and that included my fashion. He wanted the shoes and the earrings to be matchy-matchy, and when I looked in the mirror, I had to admit, I looked bomb. I had so much self-confidence, and a lot of that was driven by his approval, because he was incredibly complimentary at the time. I did my own hair and makeup, believe it or not. It wasn't Glenn's style to shoot a stage photo of a woman. He was known for capturing skaters, punks, and rappers in their element, but this was going to be different. Tracy was making a statement with this photo spread, and we were all going to go along for the ride. When I strutted onto set, Glenn blushed a little and then was on to business. He'd tell me to move my shoulders back, put my chin up straight, which wasn't easy because that sawed-off shotgun was freaking heavy and I was wearing heels. Tracy was standing right behind Glenn, and he added his own instructions. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was a little nervous, but Tracy made me feel so good and secure. It was like that with him all the time. I never knew where that day was going to take us. I just didn't care because he made me feel so safe. I spent about 2 hours posing in that suit, and then me and DJ Evil E took turns wearing our one gold bracelet, cheating it to make it look like we each had one. I also wore the infamous gun pendant that Tracy had made in the village on our first trip to New York. Tracy and DJ Evil E shared Tracy's Rolex watch during the shoot, making it look like Evil had it going on as well. After I had exhausted every pose in the white suit, we then shot the photo for the single, "I'm Your Pusher," and for that I put on the red bathing suit. The photo is also scandalous because it shows a real close-up of my curves from the side with a big old close-up of Tracy's smirking face. In that photo, you can see a ring Tracy had given me as a commitment to our relationship. He felt that putting me front and center with that ring on his album cover said everything about how he felt about me. I look back and think, there's really no one like him. Even till this day, I realize there is no one like Tracy Morrow. When I look at the Power album today, I also realize there's really no one out there like me. I mean, for its time, it was so racy, but I look at the cover photo and I'm so proud of it because it says Power, just the photo alone. It may have something to do with the mad dog look on my face, a little mean mugging, and that's real. That's a real part of who I am and where I'm from. It wasn't until a few days after the shoot when I realized just how explosive the album cover could get. We went to Warner Brothers to look at the proofs, and everyone at the label was so excited about it. They really trusted Tracy and had his back. I saw the photos and thought, oh shit, we did it now. I knew it was gonna get some attention, and I immediately thought of my family. I'd already done Rhyme Pays, but I wasn't holding a gun and I wasn't exposing as much of my backside. I decided then and there that the moment I had a copy of the record in my hand, I was gonna have to pay a visit to my grandma's house. Let me take you on a little trip down memory lane to this thing called a record store. It was a place filled with vinyl, and people hung out there day and night to get hot new releases. They'd line up at midnight for a new release, and it was a way of life for a lot of folks. Warner Brothers booked us on a whirlwind tour to promote the record, so we made stops in record stores and radio stations throughout the country and internationally. Fans were lining up to get our autographs, and the record was literally sailing off the shelves. Power was a hit. Nowadays, everyone seems overexposed and nothing shocking, but the record in 1988 was a big deal. It was embraced by the rap community immediately. They loved his hardcore sound and the iconic imagery. I'd become the Farrah Fawcett cover girl for the hip-hop world. Felt like everyone had the poster in their rooms and that album was on their turntable. Tracy didn't suffer any sophomore album slump. He was 2 for 2. The radio host always high-fived me, giving me my props. Even Glenn was blown away by the success. In his book, Fuck You Heroes, he says he had no idea how huge that picture would become. Needless to say, with any success, you can also plan on haters to crawl out of the woodwork. It took a while for the controversy to start. Initially, the response to the record was overwhelmingly positive, but then a series of articles started popping up by feminists who condemned my pictures as being degrading to women. They also tried to play me as a victim. In addition, the fact that the Power album also contained Tracy's idea of a love song, "Let's get buck naked and fuck," sparked more controversy. The feminist writers weren't feeling that one either. I thought the song was funny as hell. True to my word, I took the album to my grandma's house. When she saw the photo, she said, "Mija, you look so pretty and strong. Such a strong Mexican girl. I don't care for the way your suit goes up your butt, but mija, you look so beautiful." I figured if grandma was cool with it, then I was good. She also knew that Tracy and I were together, and he was showing me off to the world. He was proud to be with me, and I was proud to be with him. That cover sealed the deal. We were now officially the king and queen of rap. People in the street would call me Darlene the Queen, because that's what he called me. I was nobody's victim. I was a girl in love, and I was proud of my man. Alright, y'all. If you want me to read more to you of any book, let me know, but I know you're going to want more of this one. Let me know in the comments. If you want it, I'll leave the link in the description for you where to get it. Alright, give this girl her flowers. Hit that like button, subscribe, do all that, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, we'll see you next week.